I'll call the Board of Selectmen meeting to order for 7 o'clock, Thursday, August 15th. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, are there any additions to the agenda? I'd like to add some to the agenda. First, I'd like to unasterisk the casino, which is unfinished business 9C. So I move to unasterisk casino, which is, as I said, unfinished business 9C. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Also, I'd like to add the Warehouse Point Fire District supplemental appropriation to the agenda as item 10C.
Is that really unfinished?
Well,
We did take it up once before.
we did take it up. We could call, it's not listed as unfinished in this agenda, so we can't unasterisk it, but if you want to put it there, that's fine.
Depends on what you're doing with it. It just seems like that's,
Yeah,
is
well-
it a new issue?
No, we're going to, when we made the motion, we didn't put supplemental appropriation in the motion, and the treasurer read it and said, this is as accurate as it should be, so we have to make the motion again. So it is unfinished business in a sense.
So that is 9F.
Okay. So I'll rescind my motion and remake it to add the Warehouse Point Fire District supplemental appropriation as item 9F. Okay, I move, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I move the agenda be approved as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Everybody's here. I'll move to approve the regular minutes of August 1st, 2019. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Communications. Is there any communications?
We have the letter from Barbara Sherman that we sent to each of us.
Okay. Would you like to read it?
Sure. It's addressed to each individual selectman. Please thank the members of the Charter Revision Commission for their time and efforts in attempting to revise the Town of East Windsor Charter. However, I wish to ask that you vote against these suggestions. Too much was attempted, yet too much was not addressed. At the least, we need to wait until after the elections to start with our new slate. Thank you for your attention to my request. Sincerely, Barbara Sherman.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any communications. Does anybody else have any further communication?
No.
Okay, public participation. Paul?
Two items. One is I hope everybody will get to see the Chamber of Commerce insert in the JI. We did a fantastic job with it tonight's paper. There are additional copies available, so people are aware. It is helping promote business in the town of East Windsor. And then the other thing I'd like to talk about is James Richards, who's up for a new appointment at the Water Pollution Control Authority. Both myself and Art Enderle would like to have him on board. He's served there before. He has an understanding. He has a business orientation, which is a positive. So we'd very much like to have him on board, so he comes highly recommended.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Further? Yes.
Marie DeSouza, 10 Rice Road Project. I had an opportunity to attend a function the other day with the Chamber of Commerce, and although it was a small group, it was a lightning group. But one of the things that came up after the meeting was I had mentioned about the TV screen out in the hallway where the company from Hartford that was moving into East Windsor, Sardilli, that's not happening anymore, they're going to Windsor, is that accurate?
That's accurate.
So should we update that board on that?
I think we should.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Would now be an appropriate time to make a quick comment about the casino, or does that have to wait?
No, well, I think it'd be fine now. You have to state your name and address.
Well, I didn't want to go out of order. Mike Savelyev, 49 Highland Avenue. I saw in the paper the recent thing about Ned Lamont offering to move the casino to Hartford, and I just think, I know where you guys stand as a board, but I think it's really something that we should consider. I've been opposed to the casino in this town since the beginning. I just don't think it's an appropriate fit. I think there will be some short-term gains, but then long-term, it's going to collapse and be an eyesore, and I think Hartford would be a much more appropriate place for the casino. I understand we all want the money, we all want to support the town, but I think it's going to bring short-term gains and long-term headaches. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Further public participation? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. We'll go on to board and commission resignations and appointments. Resignation. With regret, I move we accept Erica Garreau's resignation from the Beautification Committee.
Second.
Is there any comments or discussion? All those in favor? Does somebody want to make the motions for the Beautification Committee?
I move to appoint Francine Lowell as a regular member of the Beautification Committee for a term expiring May 1st, 2020. Well, actually, you know what? I can do them in sequence if you'd like. They're all the same.
All right.
I move to appoint Jamie McBride to the Beautification Committee as a regular member for a term May 1st, 2020. And I move to appoint Tim Moore to the Beautification Committee as a regular member for a term expiring May 1st, 2020.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I think that we need to provide some direction to the committee. I wrote a preliminary charter several weeks ago and gave it to you. I did not give it to anybody else other than, well, to Charlie, since he was the one who initiated the committee. We should do something to, no pride in authorship in that charter, but we should do something to tell that committee what we expect of them and what the limitations are, and so on. And I think that as a minimum, we should look at this. We should, if we're satisfied with it, or if we want to make changes to it, do it, and then pass it on to the chairman of the committee. Or they're not going to have any direction. They're not going to know where to go and what to do.
I hear what you're saying. We did give them a charge when we set up the committee.
They also asked us to answer a questionnaire of sorts that they had created. I know, Bob, you submitted something to them.
Right.
I sat down with Jillian, who's the one who asked us to present it, and gave her my feedback. So that might be a better way of providing them kind of what they're looking for.
Yeah, maybe we could have, since now they have a quorum, so if they can hold a meeting, this will be the first time they've had a quorum. When Erica resigned, then really they didn't have a quorum. Now they do. Another interesting thing about the Beautification Committee, they're all unaffiliated. We have 6 unaffiliated members, which means we just the way I guess the state says you have to build committees, then now we need Republicans or Democrats. You can't take any more unaffiliated to.
Unaffiliated, so that you're talking about minority representation?
Yes.
Minority representation states that no political party can have more than a bare majority of the seats. It doesn't guarantee any seats to a non-political party. And they're unaffiliated, they're not independents, so they actually are not enrolled in a party. So,
You think
Doesn't matter.
think we could have more? Is that what you're saying?
no, I think the number is fixed, the number of seats is fixed. But not unlike the American Heritage River Commission, they have their core group of folks that constitute a quorum and make motions and are recorded in minutes and whatnot, but the number of people who want to do their work parties is open-ended. I kind of had envisioned it being set up the same way.
Well, we said there'd be 9.
And they have how many now?
6,
Counting the 3 we just put up?
yes.
Okay.
So maybe we can talk to Jillian and see when our first meeting is, and maybe one or two of us can attend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, what Andy has put together, I think should be presented to them, and we should have some discussion with them as to, okay, you've been given a charge, okay, what does that mean? And, what are the projects that they should be tackling? Because as a brand-new committee, I think they need to have some guidance.
I
Otherwise, they
think-
won't be.
I don't think we should be overbearing, though, so I think.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But like I say, this is nothing but a draft. And really, what the committee should do is to make their own charter. But it is some suggestions, starting out with the fact that, I think that they should focus on important, town buildings, like the town hall, to start with, and the annex, and the entrances and signs coming into town. That's what people will see to start with.
I agree with you, but they might just want to make businesses attractive. They might want to go out and speak to businesses and say, clean up your area, if you would. We'll leave it up to them. That's one good idea, so, but let's give them the ideas. And
Well, my thoughts were that when we started this, is that it would have to do with improving the view of town properties. I think that's really what this is about. Businesses is not something that we can go and interfere with, but what they look like. And I think that, we should also have some clarity between what they're going to be doing and what the garden club does, so that there isn't a conflict between the two. And we should have a meeting with both of them.
yeah, well, I think it would be good if they had a meeting with each other. That would probably be good. Well, we'll see. Well, at least we got a quorum now. So let's move on. I move to appoint Jim Richards to the Water Pollution Control Authority as a regular member for a term expiring October 1st, 2023.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Good. So moving on to the next agenda item is a discussion of the charter revision. And we have a lot of work to do with that tonight. We're finishing up what we started earlier in the week. Okay, here are some documents. Okay, you want to pass those down? And some more. Okay, one of these is entitled Legal Notice, and one of it is entitled Resolution. And if we can, it would be good to pass these tonight. If we aren't able to do it, then we might have to have a special meeting to do it. But before we can do it, there's some things we have to do. And if you look on the second page, and the back side, I should say, that's the beginning of the questions. So all 12 questions that go on the ballot are listed there. And the one thing we didn't do on Monday night was approve an order. So we can approve this order, or we can change the order. If we change an order, then we really don't have a document to sign, but I suppose we could still approve, adopt and approve these resolution, and with the change in order noted. So, would you like to change the order of the way they're in this document presently?
I move to thank the Charter Revision Commission and dismiss their recommendations.
Thank you. Is there a second? Hearing no second, I move that we accept the order of the ballot questions as they appear in the document entitled Resolution.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
I don't think these are any clearer than they were on Monday night.
Actually, we are going to talk about the wording of 4 of the questions.
So wait, what is the motion then?
The motion is to accept the order of the questions.
The order, I'm sorry. Can we switch number 6 and number 9?
Good?
Do that.
Just to keep some of the more pro forma questions together and some of the more substantive ones together?
I like number 6 right where it is.
Of course I do.
And I'd like to see number 11 moved up in the top 6.
You want to swap number 6 and number 11?
Nope. I'd like number 11 moved up in the top 6.
So in order to do that, you need to move one from the top 6.
Let's see here, what can we move?
So hold on a second, I had the floor first here. Can we move 6 back to number 9?
Hearing the rest of the discussion, there was...
I'm opposed to that.
So am I.
For the record, number 6 was the question about diversifying the school budget and the town budget. Number 9 had to do with the number of days to collect petition signatures to force a referendum.
Okay, I'm going to ask for a vote, because I can see that things could go on for a long time, changing numbers. So all those in favor of the resolution as, or the motion as presented, say aye.
Aye.
What was it? What was the, I don't know what the question is, I don't know who the maker and the seconder is.
Okay. Maybe, Peg, did you get that?
You made the motion.
Bob, you mean?
I
Made
did.
the motion, Charlie seconded it. The motion was to accept the order of ballot questions as they appear.
Okay, thank you.
So, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
No,
Steve,
You mean, you want it just the way it reads?
just the way it reads.
Yeah. I'd like to see 11 moved up here, but that is an important question.
so it's 3 to 1 correct?
I'm giving my opinion here.
You can either vote for it and it passes, or vote against it and it passes.
Well, come on, Jason, let him talk, if you wouldn't mind.
I'm probably going to vote for it. I want to give my reason why I'd like the other one removed. I think changing the name of the, treasurer to finance director is so minimal and means nothing as far as I'm concerned, that question should be put on the end somewhere and put the important ones up in the front, because the people are going to get tired of reading these things by the time they get to 7 or 8 and not want to read any more of them. That's my opinion,
You want to get rid of some of the questions?
okay? So, no, I want to switch them around. But if it's going to go the way you guys want to leave it the way it is, fine, let her go.
Okay, good enough.
Let her go.
All right.
I'll trade you 1 for 1.
This isn't the stock market here.
What'd you do in better?
Okay, now the next thing is the wording of number 2. So I would make a motion to accept the wording of question number 2 as presented. Shall the charter section 6-6D be amended to change the title of the town treasurer to finance director and throughout the charter? Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. And I'll say the reason that we're doing this is if you look at the minutes of August 1st, and you look at information that our treasurer gave us, and information in the documents, there's some discrepancies. There's 4 things that have a discrepancy, minor discrepancies, but we have to approve those to make everything consistent, because what we're approved here are going to be the questions. So that's my part of the discussion. Is there any further discussion?
No.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the wording of the ballot question number 2, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay. Okay, now the wording for town administrator. That's number 4. And this is the way it reads. Shall proposed new charter section 6-6H entitled Administrative Officer be added to the town charter to establish a professional administrative officer position effective July 1st, 2020. And the change is to add the date it would become effective, because we wouldn't want it to become effective until we have a budget to support it.
Right.
So I'll make a motion. I will move, we approve question number 4 for the ballot as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I'm opposed.
Okay.
So, Bob, I apologize. Are you adding the effective date or no?
Yes, the way it reads in the,
And including the effective date?
yes,
Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, wording of audits. Number 7. That says, shall the charter, section 8-9, entitled Annual Audit, be amended to require operational audits of the 3 largest town operating departments every 4 years. So I move, we approve question number 7 to read, shall Charter Section 8-9 entitled Annual Audit be amended to require operational audits of the 3 largest town departments, operating departments, every 4 years. Is there a second?
Second.
What is the change there?
The change there, it's just minor. I think it might have been just putting in the word of. We left out maybe the word of.
It's largest.
Just to make it consistent. Go
We're
ahead.
adding largest.
At the end of the meeting, we did add the 3 largest, but it didn't appear in some of the documentation. There wasn't a consistency.
Okay.
So is there any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I'm opposed.
Thank you. And finally, the wording of power to overrule. And that's number 12. And that reads, shall proposed new charter section 10-10 entitled Power to Overrule be added to the charter stating a referendum receiving 55% vote overrides a town meeting or certain actions of the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance. So I move that we approve the wording of question number 12 to read, shall proposed new charter section 10-10 entitled Power to Overrule be added to the charter stating a referendum receiving 55% vote overrides a town meeting or certain actions of the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance. Is there a second?
What is the change?
The change was,
We should second it first before
Yeah,
the
okay.
discussion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
okay, thanks. The change was in, again, coordinating the documents. One of the documents did not say board and or certain actions of the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance, but we indeed did say that at the August 1st meeting. So we just want to make everything, any question, we want to remove it tonight. So these documents are will be the questions, no question about that. Is there further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
No.
Okay, that's good. And we have, gone through the questions, and the questions are the way we want them to appear on the chart. Now, we have to adopt these legal notices warning the electors of the town of East Windsor, and the resolution proposed charter amendments in revised charter. Do you want me to read them?
Do we need to, or just approving what this is?
Yes, this is making it official. So I move to adopt and approve the legal notice warning electors of the town of East Windsor as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Okay, all those in favor?
I have a
Okay.
Do the questions on here conform to the changes that were just made?
Yes. Yes. Hi, Julie.
I noticed that you don't have a second public participation, so I was wondering if that was something that you would consider, and if not, then I would like to speak with you after the meeting.
You can certainly speak with me after the meeting. And
It's in regards to the questions.
Okay. But I'm afraid they're now in concrete. You can't change it.
Well, it's a understanding, I'm not asking to change it, I'm asking
Sure.
for information on
Sure.
understanding one of them.
And you came in late, but as it was stated, these documents are going to be made available next week. And
Yeah, I see.
yeah, so there'll be detailed information, and anybody who has a question certainly can ask.
It's not a question that will be in the written documentation.
Okay. All right, so back to the motion. We're talking about the legal notice. All those in favor? Okay. Jason?
No.
All right. I move to adopt and approve the resolution, proposed charter amendments, and revised charter as presented.
Is that what we just did?
Well, no, we did the legal notice.
Legal notice.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Jason? I'll beg your pardon?
Who was the second?
Steve was?
Thank you.
Jason?
No.
Okay. That gets us through the charter revision, so very good. Now we'll go on to the casino discussion. And what we, on the Monday, August 12th, we approved a resolution supporting the CJRA, which is the Connecticut Jobs and Revenue Act. We sent the approved resolution to Senator Anwar and copied in Carol Hall and Chris Davis and Kathy Ostin. And then we also sent a press release to the Current and the JI explaining why we did pass that resolution. So I'm just going to pass this down. This is the letter we sent to Senator Anwar, and on the back is the press release we sent to the papers.
I thought we agreed that we were going to also copy this to Senator or Congressman Larson.
We didn't. I thought what I'd like to do now, though, is to approve a letter to the governor, and I thought that was where we were going to put Senator Larson. That's where you want him? I can certainly copy in Senator Larson in that email I might as well.
Yeah, I think
okay.
so. We need all the help we can get.
Good. So on Monday, we considered writing a letter to the governor concerning the Tribal Winds Casino and the Connecticut Jobs and Revenue Act. One version would have mentioned Bridgeport and one would not. And so I have both here. And Jason, do you have a preference of?
I prefer not Bridgeport.
Okay.
Yeah, I would too.
All right. And this is the letter that we discussed Monday without Bridgeport in it. And I'll read it. Dear Governor Lamont, Monday night, August 12th, the East Windsor Board of Selectmen voted on a resolution supporting the Connecticut Jobs and Revenue Act, CJRA, a bipartisan piece of legislation that is supported in both the House and the Senate. We believe that this bill will make our state's gaming industry more competitive with our neighboring states, create jobs, and keep more of our revenue right here in Connecticut, where it belongs. The other important aspect of the bill is that it does not pit Connecticut communities against each other. When reports in the media say we want the tribes to scrap their plans for East Windsor, it raises grave concerns in our community. The East Winds facility is going to generate $8.5 million annually for the town of East Windsor and employ a significant number of local residents. They are also going to spend millions of dollars in annual payments to neighboring communities, money that will improve the overall quality of life throughout the region. At a minimum, we should all agree to walking away from the Tribal Winds project does not serve Connecticut's best interest. In fact, it only serves MGM's. Creating facilities in East Windsor, in addition to the other entertainment zones outlined in the Connecticut Jobs and Revenue Act, will allow the tribal partners to invest in the state to help shore up the industries that sent more than $8 billion to the state over the years. Abraham Lincoln said in 1885, "A house divided against itself cannot stand," and we believe that as a state we must work together.
Bob, does that say 1885?
It does.
Lincoln was killed in 1865.
So
So he didn't say that in 1885.
I misspoke. It's 1858. Transpose the numbers. Yes.
You were talking, I thought I heard you say, in a sentence there, east winds?
I meant Tribal Winds. That's the name of it.
That's not what I was reading.
No, but I know that, but I
Misspoke.
thought I heard you say east winds instead of tribal winds.
If I did, I misspoke.
Well, I don't know, I guess.
Did I? I didn't,
I
yeah.
thought you did, but check it, okay?
Okay, in fact, I'm going to, if we agree to approve this, I'll just finish it up to another sentence. Now is the time to build the Tribal Winds Casino to help create investment opportunities in the north central Connecticut. We urge you to join us. So if we approve this, I'd ask you to sign it. I move we approve the letter to the governor as written. And
I'll second that.
okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
What day is the letter dated?
August 13th.
So we should change that.
Okay. Well, okay, and we can because we're going to sign the second page, so that way. Yeah.
Do you want it with the blue pen that you have?
Okay. My official signing pen I don't have, but this is a good one. Yes.
If I understood what you read in there, you said that the other towns were going to get whatever amount of money you said.
Didn't specify.
You said, you didn't specify the amount, you said over the course of years. The only thing that was agreed upon was $750,000 for the first year. you've got throughout the years.
No, what he was talking about was the amount of money casinos have contributed to the state economy since the compact in
Okay, then I
91.
misunderstood it.
It was 8 billion, which sounds a lot like 8 million, which is what our number is. But he was talking, the letter speaks to the total aggregate over time.
I misunderstood it then.
I understood.
Yeah, that's what I understood.
Well, we're waiting for signatures. Is there anything we can do to encourage Dave Capiello to show up at the second meeting of each month, as he was once, back 6 or 8 months ago, he was showing up? I think that's a good thing.
I agree. Would you like it the first or the second? Because
Well,
this is the second.
I know, we've been doing historically, we've been doing the second.
Okay. Yeah, I'll ask him. I'm sure you will.
Okay.
I think he's on vacation right now. That's
I
fine.
understand that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, good. Now, moving on to the Tyler Regional Animal Care Shelter. And just an update, we're not making a lot of progress there. So I wrote a letter to the Police Commission, and Bob Leach in particular, and I asked for two things. I said, as we discussed on the phone, I'd like to view the Tyler Regional Animal Care Shelter tracks on 124 Sullivan Avenue and our current animal control shelter on Mill Street with our current animal control officer, Kathy. Anyone is welcome to join us. As we further discussed, I would be happy to contact Kathy and make arrangements, but since you feel it's best you talk with Kathy first, I will wait to hear from you. 2, add the Tyler Regional Animal Care Shelter to the Police Commission agenda for August 14th. Members of the Board of Selectmen would like to continue discussing the transition to the Tyler Regional Animal Care Shelter. Well, that 14th meeting of the Police Commission has been canceled, and Bob responded, First Selectman Maynard. I polled the commission members. They were unanimous in their decision to deny your request. The commissioners would believe that undue influence and using words and opinions of a public employee should never be used in the political decision-making of the Board of Selectmen. What I know that we're trying to do is save $161,000 that is needed to bring the our current animal control center up to a substandard, not the standards that would be required for new animal control shelters, and we're trying to give our animals better care, and it turns out we can do it for about the same price. So
I'm sorry, did you say 161,000?
no, 61,000 to bring it up to a minimum
I
code.
think you said 161.
I've been misspeaking. I apologize for that. But anyway, I don't believe this is political. This is what our job is taking care of are trying to save money and take care of our properties, and this is an excellent thing. So I personally don't believe it's anything politically about what we're trying to do. It's facts.
I don't see it either. There's no way it can be shaped anything political to try and provide a better facility for the animals that require shelter in this town. And it's the town's responsibility to provide such shelter. And where that shelter can be had is based upon what we think as a board. Now, that there's been push by the state, by the governor, to have regional animal shelter, regional animal control officers. I'm not seeing that regional animal control officer here, but you know, we have a great opportunity to provide such a much better facility than what we currently have. And we don't have to outlay $61,000. So I'd like to make a recommendation and a motion if necessary that you and Selectman Hoffman meet with the town attorney to discuss our options to move forward with securing a place to have our animals cared for at the Tyler Regional Center.
I will contact the town attorney, if for no other reason. One thing we have to do is go over the agreement, and maybe we can start working with the Tyler Regional Animal Care Shelter to solidify that agreement, so we can, whenever we're ready, we can transfer to that
That's
facility.
fine, but I feel strongly we should get the town attorney to give his ruling on the fact that we have that authority to move that to that site.
I hear what you're saying, and I will talk to him about that.
Okay, could you do that with Andy together? Maybe go and meet with him? I always find in-person meetings, a lot more is discussed and able to bring out, and you think of things as somebody's talking. That's my experience, my recommendation.
Okay, good.
May I ask, was that a motion or just discussion?
They were just discussion.
Okay, just ask.
Steve?
Why do we have to change anything in the agreement? If Manchester and East Hartford have signed the same agreement, why do we have to go in there in the town of South Windsor and rock the boat like we think we know more than everybody else?
We're not doing that.
Yeah, but I mean, why can't we sign the same agreement that the other two towns have signed?
Maybe we can. Maybe it's just...
I mean, we're just prolonging this thing. Okay, and I want to know who the hell the police commission thinks they are to deny your request. You can go waltz down to that place anytime you want and go in there. Who are these people to say, we deny your request? That's why we want you to talk to the attorney, and let's get this thing moving forward and bypass these people that don't want to give this thing up. Okay? This is nonsense. It's ignorant. It's pathetic. Okay? Let's get the job done. Enough is enough of the stalling. That's my comment.
Okay, thank you.
So this is clearly going to be an example of why one of the charter proposals is a bad idea, is because we're already, without changing the rules, trying to figure out how we can just make another elected board do what we tell them to. That has got to sound like a bad idea. That has just got to sound like a bad idea.
Well,
Okay, now, wait a minute, I would like the floor now.
Okay.
I'm the first selectman in this town.
Yeah.
And if I want to know something about a building that's structurally unsound, I can talk to the building official. If I want to know something about taxes or a tax problem, I go talk to the tax collector. If I want to know something about anything else in town, something about Mill Pond Village Fire, I can go talk to the social services, or I can talk to the captain of the fire departments. to run this town, to make these decisions, you have to be able to talk to people. And if the commission is denying the CEO of this town the ability to talk to somebody to gather information to see if it's a good idea to transfer the care of our animals from East Windsor to the Regional Control Center, then that should be allowed. And when I asked the chief for if I could, and we had a discussion about the gravel pits and the ATVs and cross-country motorcycles are just that are really terrorizing, or they're making the pits kind of noisy on the weekends, and we know that they had a party there that made the paper because somebody was riding around dressed as a KKK member. The chief took a police officer and we went in a police vehicle and really toured the pits, and I learned about it. But this is being, we cannot, as a board here, figure out, and maybe you can tell us, why shouldn't we transfer our animal control, our animal care center from East Windsor to South Windsor? So that's my thing. I should be able to talk to anybody, and if a commission can say, no, we're not letting you to talk to somebody, we're not letting you have the opportunity to gather information to make a decision, that's bad. And so this thing, I'm not sure if the way it's written, I would vote for making the police commission a town department, so this communication would take place, but it certainly should take place as long as a committee can stand and stifle communication between the CEO and prevent him from getting information he should have. It's not a good thing. That's all I'm saying.
Bob, isn't it as simple as the fact that it is the obligation of the town, and therefore us, to provide a facility? And it's up to the police commission to use it. And what we're doing here is we are providing a facility. We have made a judgment. It is based on facts. It's based on cost and future costs that we're going to have to expend on our current facility here in town. It's a bad financial deal. The deal in South Windsor is a good financial deal. It's an excellent facility. Clearly, orders of magnitude better than the one we have. I think we should get a copy, official copy, requesting a copy of the agreement from the town of South Windsor. I know you have our attorney looking at it already. We should talk to him. But once that's done, we should go forward with it. We should sign it and become part of that consortium. It's a better deal. It's just plain a better deal. You know, the police commission and the deputy chief gave us a dozen or more questions. I answered all those questions and sent them back to the commission in July. I think they were on July 23rd. I think they were good answers. I think they thought that they were good answers because they have not said they're no good. So why aren't we just plain going ahead? I think we should.
Okay, I hear what you're saying.
Can I speak?
Yes.
I agree with Andy. This has gone on for months. And for something that is an expenditure, for us to be there of $2,670 a year, and we've spent countless hours putting together all of the data for this, countless hours talking about it. Now we're going to talk to the town attorney, and we're going to move forward with it. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why the police commission is against this.
Yeah,
It makes no logic at all. something really smells. It smells real bad, and I think we need to follow the money.
Okay. I just want to say something, and we're not going to take comments from the audience, but someone at the last meeting said that it was a safety issue, that they didn't want policemen who would have to work if an animal control officer wasn't there, leaving the town to another town, and it would take time. Well, what I did is I went to, I started at the door of the police station, and I drove to the Tyler Regional Animal Care Shelter. It took 9 minutes to get from our police station to the front door of the animal control shelter. It was 5.3 miles. I went from the door of the police station to ours, took 9 minutes, and it was 5.4 miles. So it didn't take any longer to get from the police station to either animal control shelter. Then I clocked it on Route 5 from the Dairy Queen, which is the line, to the animal control shelter in South Windsor. It took a minute and a half. So this argument about safety it sounds good, but when you actually do the work, it falls apart. And it was interestingly enough, when we started this discussion with the police commission, they were talking about maybe, well, what if we want to go to Suffield? Well, Suffield's not a minute and a half away, so I don't know. I agree, something's going on, but let's be gentle, Steve.
Just one more thing. We're doing the budget, and Amy was in here. We got talking about this. And we're looking at the money. And she came back with a paper. I tried to find the paper in my stack. I can't find it. But I saw it. And it had to do with $50,000. It was a $50,000 bill.
I think it's
that
$61,000.
I think was going to disappear if this thing goes to South Windsor. Now, I saw that paper. Amy got it for me. Okay? I asked her. The next meeting, she brought it in to me and gave it to me.
Okay, well, I'll check on
So
that.
that's all I got to say.
Okay, well, let's go on to the next
Let's move on.
topic.
So, not a comment, I just have a question of clarification.
Sure.
So, it's my understanding that East Hartford and Manchester is in conversations about pulling out. If that happens, is the number that we're discussing going to remain constant, or is there going to be some future liability?
Okay, yeah, I apologize. I said nobody could speak, and I meant it. I think, and what,
Really?
what you see, what you've done is brought up a rumor, and then you want us to comment on a rumor. People have, I don't know where this rumor started.
It's a possibility in the future.
Well, there's many possibilities.
See,
See,
to
yeah.
discuss that.
So here's
Go
what
ahead.
would happen not in a rumor context. If East Windsor pulls out of our current circumstance, we are no longer grandfathered under the statutes we would have to go beyond renovations for that facility, and we would need to reconstruct one up to current regulations, which are substantially different from those that were in place when that was constructed. That cost would be considerably more than the $60,000 savings. I think that's the root of the concern that people have, is that if that agreement, that currently 3-town, potentially 4-town agreement dissolves, we have a huge problem.
We have to qualify it. You can't use these terms, and also, like I said, to nix a very good thing without saying based on speculation, and somebody could very well throw out this thing just like you did.
Yeah, but I'm not suggesting that they're pulling out. I'm saying if they were.
Yeah, I know. There's ifs and buts with candy and nuts. We'd all have a Merry Christmas. You can't base things on ifs. I could make up anything that somebody presents. I could say, yeah, but what if it's hit by an airplane? You know, you got to have concrete things to make your decisions on. You can't And that's a possibility.
A concrete thing to put into the discussion is that if we vacate the current facility,
Yes,
it
that's-
is no longer grandfathered, and
That's
the
right.
cost to reinstate that is
Right.
substantial.
Yes.
Okay.
And you know, South Windsor's got to do something too. And by pulling out, if they did, which I think is a red herring in this situation, it would drastically reduce those costs. So we'd have to do the math, but I don't think we should base our decision on that.
Jason, I
Yes.
think from just exactly what you said, okay, that we're no longer grandfathered if we go and then have to come back, then you've just exactly stated why we need to do this. Because that facility that we have down the street here is not proper for the animals, period. Am I right? That's why you
So-
have to do it, because it's not a proper facility.
So have
I
you read
feel
the
bad for
regulations?
those animals that have to be in here when they could be over there at a lower cost.
It's the goal.
And
So-
and there's certain people that are fighting it. And my experience in life has been, you gotta follow the money. Nobody fights for something like this, which is silly, when you got a superior facility at a lower cost and to continue to fight it. Gotta follow the money trail here, because something's not right.
So, I was chief of staff for the Department of Agriculture when the regulations from the department were rewritten pertaining to municipal animal care facilities. I know what they said. I would say that we have now spent more time talking about the dog pound than we have about fixing JV sports or the fire district or actually writing a casino ordinance or any number of issues that I think are of a much more significant degree than some turf war between the Board of Selectmen and the Police Commission.
I don't think it's a
No, I think it is. I think that's exactly what it is. Or, like you say, maybe there's some money involved, I don't know. But this is politics, and we're not being political. There's no, we were just trying to help the town. But there is a turf war.
We ought to be focusing on problems that'll actually move the town.
Yeah, but if somebody
This
says,
will.
don't do a good
How
thing,
will this move the town forward?
Then Jason, you have no empathy for any animals, period.
I have them for
Very
kids.
sorry for you.
Okay.
Very sorry for you.
all right.
Okay, moving right along, boys.
Can I just say one
One more thing, and we're going to move on.
Can I just say one last
Yeah,
thing?
please.
There was a question, a rumor, about Manchester pulling out. I called the people in South Windsor, and that is not true, according to them. I called East Hartford today, did not get an answer because I wanted to be able to cover that tonight, just in case it came up. But according to two people in South Windsor, the Manchester rumor is a rumor, and it is not fact.
Okay, I'm going to move on now. So we're going on to farm leases.
This is the Hartford Foundation.
F. 10F, add the agenda item.
West Point Recreation,
I thought we had the Hartford Foundation to do.
West Point Fire Department.
Discussion of the Hartford Foundation.
Well, we aren't going to do it tonight. We can do it at our next meeting.
Okay. Then we also, you added under there the West Point Fire District.
Yes, that's true. So we can do the Warehouse Point Fire District.
Okay.
Okay, the motion we made at the last meeting to have a supplemental appropriation to move $232,000 to the Warehouse Point Fire District, did not actually say in its supplemental appropriation, so we have to redo the motion. And I have copies here and the treasurer approved this motion, so yeah, I'll make the motion if somebody else wants to.
Go ahead. You want me
Okay.
to?
Well, no, I'll pass, let them, yes, well, I'll pass it, let them pass it down first. Okay, sure. Sean, if you want to make the motion, go ahead.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to amend the current motion that we have, and I'll read it as follows. I move to amend the motion previously adopted at the August 1st, 2019 Board of Selectmen meeting to restore $232,000 line item for the Wells Point Fire District to now read, I move to request the Board of Finance to approve a supplementary appropriation of $232,000 to put aside for the Wells Point Fire District, and if the Wells Point Fire District signs a memo of understanding by November 1st, 2019, stating that the $232,000 will be used to reduce their fiscal year 2021 budget mill rate, make the $232,000 available to the Wells Point Fire District on July 1st, 2020.
I'll second that. Is there any discussion?
So I opposed this the last time it came up, and I'm going to again, but I don't want that to be taken as a lack of recognition that there's a problem there that needs a solution. I just don't think that this is the solution. I think it just extends the problem. I think that it makes this a perennial issue that we need to be, that we need to tackle every year instead of fixing it once and fixing it right. And I also take the treasurer's word that we don't have the money to cover the bill. So I'm interested in finding a resolution to that problem. I just don't think that this is it.
I appreciate that, and it isn't, I don't think the treasurer said we don't have the money to cover the bill.
She absolutely said that. And
She
she's
actually-
sitting in the back left corner.
She says that that the fund balance has $100,000 in it, and if we go below, if we take more than $100,000 out, then we go below the maximum, which is 20%, and we have a minimum of 10%, so we do have the money, if you get precise.
That's exactly what she said.
I was around when that fund balance had less than $100,000, I think it was $100,000 in it. I'm very, very protective of the town's savings account.
But she didn't say that, Jason. She
No, and I
said
understand we can
it's
go-
$100,000 over the max.
And I understand we can go below the max, but I was here when our fiscal times were terrible. And the policy was put in place for a reason, the guidelines are put in place for a reason, and the GASB recommendations are what they are for a reason. So tapping the savings account is not the solution to this.
Okay. Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
I'm opposed.
Okay. Now, farm leases. Okay. I have a letter that came from Albert Grant, and I'll read it to you, dated August 8th. It says, correspondence from the Agricultural Commission, August 15th, 2019 Board of Selectmen meeting. We would like to add the following to our letter of May 16th, 2019. We feel that preferences should be given to the East Windsor farmers. Since the properties were purchased with town funds, they should benefit town residents. Some of these farmers who will most likely bid have already been renting the land, and it is part of their livelihood. We don't want to make them vulnerable to hardship. We also strongly suggest 5-year terms. Farmers are continually building up the quality of soil and should be able to make use of that. We would also like to bring to your attention the guidelines in the PA 490 publication. This is a guide and overview for landowners, assessors, and government officials. The farm values are made available to municipalities. Towns are strongly urged to use these values. Town must use an appropriate methodology supported by data and justified for rent values if they choose not to follow the guidelines. The values are updated every 5 years and are due in 2020. They could go up or down. So what we've done is put together an RFP for putting the 4 parcels we have out to bid. And what I'm going to do is give this to the Agricultural Commission and let them read it and get their feedback. I'll also let our town attorney review it, and I'm going to give it to you. So you can tell me if you want to change anything. I've also included the leases, the lease that we'd actually have them sign. So up front, you're getting this information in advance, and but we have to get it out fairly soon. So
We should wait till after the Ag Commission has opined.
oh yes, yes, and but
May I ask you a question?
sure.
The agricultural commission will not be held until September 2, 3, 4. It's the first.
Well, maybe then I'll have to give it to Albert Grant, and he can maybe give it to them and solicit feedback. But I'll get feedback from the Agricultural Commission and as much as I can.
Hey, Bob,
Yeah.
you know, when things go out to bid in town here, we usually give the person who lives in town and pays taxes in town, don't they usually get a 10% advantage over the high bidder?
We could say that.
We probably should do that the same for the local in-town farmers.
Do you want to make a motion?
I'd like to see that.
Okay, and I have no problem with that. I kind of agree with what I read.
We do it for the other people who are bidding on things, you know, the locals, so why not do it for?
So where are you putting that?
So we're not putting it anywhere. Right now, it's just an RFP soliciting bids.
Right. It's just something I thought I'd throw out there.
When you look at this parcel 2, the 53 acres,
Mhm.
so looking at Chamberlain Road, that Chamberlain, it extends all the way over to Reservoir, is that right?
Yes,
Okay, that's all inclusive?
Yes.
It's 53 acres, I thought it would have been more. And on the 22, parcel 1, located on Dry Street, are there any buildings, sheds involved with that also?
I don't know. I don't think there's any buildings involved.
No?
I don't think there are.
Yeah.
There are on the abutting property, but that's not,
Okay.
Oh,
Well, the COVID farm has one shed on
does it?
it. You know, that shed sits right on Reservoir Road.
Oh, there is a barn there. That's true, but
And I want to bring that up too. What are we going to do about that barn? Are we going to let it fall into the ground?
that's basically what it's doing.
Well, should we try to fix that barn up to preserve it?
Wasn't on my list of things
No, I'm
to
just
do.
asking, you know?
I don't know.
You talking about the shed that's right next to the road?
Yeah.
The barn.
Next to the road. They were putting tobacco in it, but then the roof started leaking, so when they got sick of putting plastic on the roof, they kind of abandoned it, you know?
there's grant money that's available through the Department of Agriculture for that in November.
Oh,
I thought that was Hess's barn, no?
no, somebody has called up and asked me about it, if they could rent it, but it's kind of dangerous now. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, if you can get the roof fixed, I was talking to some other people who have some sheds in town, and nobody was renting them, and people wanted them. They said they would put a roof on the building if they could have it for 5 years. My opinion is the guy should go and make that deal.
I like Jason's idea of a grant.
There's actually several
Yeah.
grant programs that the department has. There's 3.
So, well,
Who are those for, the town, or is it?
The farm viability grant is, nonprofits and municipalities are eligible for it. The farm restoration grant is hard infrastructure, and there are different award thresholds depending on if you're a municipality or a nonprofit or a private enterprise. And then the farm restoration grant probably isn't appropriate for a barn, but it would be for something like land clearing or fencing,
Okay.
or a well.
So I would just ask for your feedback when you get a chance. Send me an email or something. It's a long thing to go through. So any further discussion on this farm lease?
Just, oh, okay, I got it.
Okay, then we're about over. Somebody want to approve the tax refunds?
I'll make a motion to approve the tax refunds in the amount of $4,270.50.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now on to selectmen comments and reports. Jason?
My thing's not working. Give me 1 second. On August 10th, I got to participate in the East Windsor Historical Society's Ice Cream Social held at the Historical Society. The event has grown into a great opportunity that brings our community together. It's become so much more than the name suggests. There are hundreds and hundreds of people who attend, participating in hay rides, pony rides, an antique and craft show, a tractor display, haircuts at the old barber shop, tours of the Society building, the Osborne House, and the newly relocated Barber Hill Schoolhouse, and so much more. And yes, there is Connecticut-grown ice cream. It's become an absolutely can't-miss summer event in our community, and I can't wait to see how they build on it in years to come. Less focused on bringing the community together was the special meeting of the Board of Selectmen on Monday night. At that meeting, the board decided to send 12 questions to the ballot this November. To be clear, we don't have any idea what the cost of those proposals will be, if we can afford them, or what will not be funded because of them. We still haven't found permanent solutions to the Warehouse Point Fire District issue, and we are literally passing the hat to provide basic opportunities in our schools. The perspectives of professional staff to these dozen proposals have been mostly ignored. The objections of literally everyone who has spoken about these questions at previous selectmen's meetings have been outright discarded. However, every grievance has been addressed in the charter proposals. All of the scores that need to be settled are included in this grievance charter. The proposals drastically change institutions that are not broken, particularly concerning the police department, ensure that divisions within the community never heal, particular to the division of the school budget from the town budget. The first selectman is given extra votes to ensure that his perspective carries the day, democratic process be damned, and even the questions that aren't harmful have become so entwined with the harmful majority of these questions that I won't be voting yes on any of them, and I strongly encourage others to follow. I really wish I had something better to report.
Okay.
I don't have anything.
Okay. Andy, you have anything?
Okay, back your town.
Steve, you're up now.
Sounds okay?
Yeah, I'm passing.
Okay. Andy?
Yeah. There was not a Economic Development Commission meeting in the month of August, July rather, and will not be one in August. It's a vacation month off. I did talk to Ruben today. I felt that rather than just plain pass, I would pulse him before each one of these meetings to find out what he had going. He gave me 3 issues. He said that they are growing 17.5 acres of hemp on Harrington Road. I did not know that. The Electrical Institute has started construction of their buildings across from Sustainable Building Systems, which is a good thing. They look like they're ready to start pouring footings. And the Planning Department has received a number of inquiries recently from solar farm companies who would like to put solar farms in old gravel pits.
Solar developments. They're not farms.
I'm sorry?
Solar developments, they're not farms. They don't grow anything.
Okay. Solar development. The one thing he did not report is that Sardelli is not going to come to town.
That's right.
And is that something brand new?
Yes, and I can say something about that.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so I will say something. Sardelli is not coming to town, and I talked to Jay Urso a week ago about that. And what he said is that one of the main reasons Sardelli isn't coming to town is the DOT delayed him too much. He had hoped to start building this spring, but even now the Department of Transportation has not approved the intersection of Route 5 and South Water Street. So he's going to refurbish a building in Windsor Locks. No, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Windsor, in the Day Hill Road area. But he's put so much into this property. I think if he hasn't already, he will buy that property. He thinks he can sell it and get his money back. So hopefully that property will be sold and developed. But Sardelli is not coming. So we've lost a $20 million thing. Go ahead.
So is the facility that he's moving to already DOT approved? Because it doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense to cite delays with DOT to start at the back of the line with DOT again.
No, I'm sure that the traffic, I don't know, but let me say that, okay, so,
I guess the question, Bob, is should we in the town done something different to make it easier for him?
the only thing we could have done as a town is to got the state involved, and that brings up another thing, that today Senator Arnwar came to my office and talked to me, just popped in, and we did talk about economic development, and we talked about Sardelli, and I told him that it was the DOT that was causing the problem. He said, you should have got me involved. And that's what we should have done, is find somebody to really start working with the DOT to see what could be done. So it had to be addressed at a state level. We did all we could as a municipality. He wanted to come here, but...
Can I ask you about...
Sure.
Sorry to interrupt you, but at any time, did they give you updates about the delays with DOT?
Yeah, I was talking to him, he was saying, we're fine, we're ready to go, it's just the DOT, and that's what it was, so we've lost him.
It's a big hit.
It is. And interesting, and so we talked about economic development, Senator Anwar and I, and he also said a question, and maybe public participation next time we meet, which is in September. He said, how can the state help East Windsor in the region? It's a good question. So we have somebody will listen to that answer. So it's a good thing to think about.
Should we ask Ruben to put together how the state can help East Windsor?
That's a good idea, yeah.
As well as the Economic Development Commission.
Yeah. The problem, Charlie, with them is a long enduring problem, and that is they don't meet very often. And right now they're down to two members, and that's all they have. Well, three members. So
Maybe in December I'll join, and maybe you can join too.
say it again, please.
In December, maybe I'll be on the economic, so we'll see.
Good.
You know, one other thing that we could do is to get, 4 or 5 of the larger business people in town together, have a little meeting about that, and get their input, like Larry Tribble. He's got vision about what it is, and I think, because he did that day when he came and we had...
Oh, yeah, he knows Route 5.
Right, so I think we should do that. Reach out to them, 4 or 5, identify them, have them in for a meeting, and what do they think? Just kind of kick that around.
I did that, Charlie, with 20 companies in the town. It was a long time ago, 6 years ago or more. And, you know, they had inputs. I asked Larry Tribble, you know, what his biggest beef was and what we could do to make that go away. And he said that Route 5 was his biggest problem. It was not conducive to the truck traffic that he had, and the getting on Route 91 north was more difficult than going all the way down to the Bissell Bridge and getting on in South Windsor and going either north or south. Now, that's a big issue, to get Route 5 widened to look like what it looks like in South Windsor. But that was his big issue. He thought that the town should do something about that. And the other, you know, other businesses had other issues that they thought, and they were all in reports that I issued, you know, 6 years ago.
Think it's timely that we get them together?
Oh, yeah.
Did you meet
I
with
think
them?
getting the businesses together
Yeah.
is a good idea anytime,
Yeah, okay. Well, let's do that
and
then.
getting them involved.
In the month of September.
Okay.
We could do that, that would be good.
All right, and the final thing I'll say, that I went to the ice cream social too. It's excellent.
I didn't see you.
Well, I didn't see you.
You were there.
I think I saw you both. Just didn't say.
I left early. I had 2 dogs, and my dogs are not in good shape. After a half an hour, I was carrying the dogs, so didn't stay a long time. But also, I went to the American Legion pig roast on Sunday, and that was really a lot of fun too. And a lot of people showed up. The hall was full, the outdoors, they had tents, and that was full. And a very nice day, so yeah, I think it's growing. I think there's more in here this year than there were other years, so it's a fun event too. So, having said that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor? Okay. You wanted to talk?
Yeah, I have all sorts of things.
Okay, I've got to turn off the...
Well, they're clearing.